Diddy just stunned the courtroom by rejecting a plea deal that could have reduced his sentence. But what's more shocking is who the feds wanted him to snitch on. Jay-Z's name is now tied to a web of disturbing allegations, secret parties, and criminal accusations that go far beyond music. Leaked phone calls from prison, explosive lawsuits, and witness testimonies are exposing a side of celebrity culture most fans never imagined. Even Beyoncé and LeBron James are being mentioned in court documents, and insiders say this isn't just Diddy's downfall, it could bring down an entire empire. What really happened behind the scenes? And why is Jay-Z suddenly so quiet? Let's break it all down. The courtroom was quiet. Eerily so, when Sean Diddy Combs stepped in. No flashing cameras, no chance of support. Just cold walls and the weight of federal charges that could put him away for life. Gone were the designer shades and tailored suits. Diddy stood there in a faded beige jail uniform, looking less like a hip-hop mogul and more like a man facing the end of everything he built. The judge asked him one simple question: did he want to accept the government's offer? With no hesitation, Diddy responded, "Yes, I do, Your Honor." But he wasn't accepting the deal. He was rejecting it, flat out. And that decision shocked everyone in the room. Prosecutors had quietly put forward a plea deal behind closed doors. It was supposed to be a lifeline, a chance to reduce the charges and avoid a lifetime behind bars. But it came with a catch. Diddy had to talk, and not just about himself. He had to name names. Sources close to the case claim that the deal required Diddy to admit to trafficking crimes that involved others in his inner circle. Names like Brendan Paul, his alleged drug mule, and even more shockingly, Jay-Z. This wasn't just about cutting a deal, it was about cutting ties with some of the most powerful figures in the entertainment industry. But Diddy refused. Why? Because in his world, cooperating with the government isn't just frowned upon, it's dangerous. In prison, being labeled a snitch can make you a target. On the outside, it ruins your legacy. And Diddy, for all his legal troubles, still believes he has something left to protect. His name, his brand, his legend. Yet even more telling is what insiders are saying now. Diddy didn't make that decision alone. Word is, Jay-Z himself urged Diddy not to take the deal. Allegedly, Jay was terrified that if Diddy flipped, everything they built together could come crashing down. It's not hard to see why. The moment Diddy testifies, the floodgates open. And that's exactly what prosecutors were hoping for. They wanted Diddy to be the entry point, the key witness to unravel a much bigger operation. But now, they'll have to go to trial without him. And Diddy, despite the mountain of evidence stacked against him, is choosing to fight. Some say it's loyalty, others say it's desperation. But everyone agrees. It's a dangerous game, because if Diddy goes down, he might not go alone. While the media zeroed in on Diddy's refusal to cooperate, another name kept echoing in the background: Jay-Z. On the surface, Jay-Z has kept his image polished. Billionaire businessman, family man, hip-hop royalty. But beneath the surface, there's a growing sense of unease. His name is being whispered in courtrooms, in lawsuits, in backroom conversations that rarely see the light of day. And the pressure is getting harder to ignore. Insiders close to the case claim that Jay-Z may have had more than just a passing connection to Diddy's alleged criminal network. The two weren't just collaborators, they were close. Business partners, party hosts, power brokers. And if Diddy's being charged with running a trafficking ring, then who was in the room when it all went down? Court documents from multiple civil suits have already started connecting dots that lead directly to Jay-Z. And then there's the rumor that Jay-Z was the one who told Diddy to reject the plea deal in the first place. The theory? Jay-Z knew that if Diddy flipped, he'd be next. By convincing Diddy to stay quiet, he's buying time. Time to protect his empire. Time to clean up whatever can still be cleaned. But here's the twist. People on the inside are saying Jay-Z might not be as safe as he thinks. There's talk that the FBI has been watching him for months, that they're gathering evidence quietly, building a case brick by brick. They've already got digital surveillance, financial trails, and witness lists. The only thing missing? A confession or a collapse. Jay-Z has always been smart. He didn't get this far by being reckless, but this time, he's not in control. The narrative is slipping, and the more his name gets pulled into Diddy's orbit, the harder it is to stay out of the blast radius. For a man with investments in tech, sports, liquor, and global entertainment, a single subpoena could trigger a chain reaction. His billion-dollar brand isn't just built on business deals, it's built on trust. And right now, that trust is cracking. Beyoncé hasn't said a word. Jay-Z hasn't posted, commented, or responded. Their legal team is working overtime to keep things quiet. But the silence, that's what has everyone talking. Because if Jay-Z is truly innocent, why is he moving? Like someone getting ready to vanish? If Diddy was the fall guy, is Jay-Z the one pulling the strings? The feds think so, and they're watching. Before the billion-dollar empires and Grammy stages, Jay-Z and Diddy were two ambitious men navigating the ruthless world of hip-hop in the 90s. They weren't just climbing the ladder, they were rewriting the rules. And as their fame exploded, so did the trail of violence and controversy left behind. In December 1999, Jay-Z made headlines after a violent altercation at the Kit Kat Club in New York. He was accused of stabbing a record executive named Lance Rivera, allegedly, over a bootlegged album. The case was serious. Jay-Z turned himself in, and for a moment, his entire career hung in the balance. Eventually, he pled guilty to third-degree assault, served 3 years probation, and the incident was largely swept under the rug. But that wasn't the only story making waves that year. Diddy, still known by many then as Puff Daddy, was involved in a high-profile nightclub shooting just weeks later. After a fight broke out at Club New York, 3 people were injured. Diddy, along with his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, fled the scene. He was arrested and charged with gun possession and bribery. Though he was later acquitted, the headlines were relentless. The trial exposed just how deep Diddy's influence ran and how quickly high-powered lawyers could make problems vanish. These weren't isolated incidents, they were early warnings. As their careers soared, whispers of intimidation, payoffs, and behind-the-scenes manipulation followed both men. Rumors of silencing accusers, threatening witnesses, and settling. Lawsuits out of court became part of the unspoken narrative. And through it all, Diddy and Jay-Z remained close, collaborating, partying, expanding their empires in parallel. To outsiders, they were moguls. To insiders, they were untouchable. There were stories of parties that lasted for days. Women flown in, phones confiscated, NDAs handed out like party favors. And anyone who stepped out of line, they were dealt with quietly. People started to notice a pattern. When someone accused either of them of misconduct, something strange would happen. Cases would disappear, victims would backtrack, key witnesses would go silent, and careers, those that threatened them, would suddenly stall or crumble. Jay-Z, for all his strategic genius, always managed to stay one step removed. He wasn't reckless like Diddy. He didn't brag. He didn't flash. But according to sources, he knew everything. Every deal. Every threat. Every victim. Some say Diddy was the face. Jay-Z was the architect. And now that Diddy's empire is crumbling, those same people are wondering, how long until Jay-Z's name moves from the shadows to the center of the case? The history is there. The evidence is catching up. And the silence? It's starting to sound like guilt. The criminal case against Diddy is devastating. But it's the civil suits that have truly cracked open the darker side of his empire. And what's emerging from those filings is something no one expected. A direct path to Jay-Z. It all starts with a name most people had never heard until now, Joseph Manzaro. In a lawsuit filed in Florida, Manzaro alleges a nightmare that reads more like a psychological thriller than a legal document. He claims that in 2015, he was drugged and abducted after touching a strange, greasy substance left on the doorknob. To his home. Within hours, he found himself at what he later learned was a freak-off party. Diddy's infamous term for drug-fueled sex events filled with high-profile guests and paid silent. But what makes this lawsuit explosive isn't just the story, it's the people Manzaro says were in the room. He claims that both Jay-Z and Beyoncé were seated inside the party. He even quotes Beyoncé's alleged reaction. "What's this? What's this all about? Why is this half-naked white man with a penis mask standing here in front of me?" The image is surreal. But in a courtroom, surreal doesn't mean false. It means disturbing. And what makes this worse is that neither Jay-Z nor Beyoncé, according to the suit, made any effort to help or intervene. Manzaro's testimony is detailed, specific, and backed by a timeline of events, property records, and alleged witness statements. He even names other celebrities who were reportedly present. LeBron James, Gloria Estefan, and her husband, Emilio. And then comes the architectural twist. Manzaro claims there was a secret tunnel linking Gloria Estefan's Miami mansion to Diddy's property, a passage allegedly used to transport him to the party without public detection. The Estefans have strongly denied this, stating no such party ever happened on their property. They've even offered to present documents proving that no events occurred there between 2012 and 2019. But their denials haven't stopped the case from gaining momentum. And this isn't an isolated lawsuit. Other civil filings name Jay-Z and Beyoncé as witnesses, sometimes even as participants. One woman withdrew her case after allegedly being threatened by individuals linked to Jay-Z. Others say they were coerced into silence with money, legal intimidation, or fear of retaliation. These lawsuits don't just imply guilt. They map out a system, a coordinated network of manipulation that reached far beyond Diddy. And Jay-Z's name keeps coming up again and again. Even more chilling, some lawsuits allege that victims were filmed without their consent. That footage was later used as leverage, possibly explaining why so few people have dared to speak up until now. There are dozens of sealed affidavits, court redactions, confidential settlements, but behind those black bars and legalese, one message is clear. Jay-Z is no longer untouchable. The civil suits are forming a pattern, one that stretches back years and implicates some of the most powerful figures in music and entertainment. And if one of them breaks, it won't just be Diddy's standing trial. Just when the headlines started to blur together, a new bombshell dropped. Audio leaked from inside Diddy's jail cell. And what it revealed wasn't just desperation. It was something far more calculated. The recording allegedly captured at the Metropolitan Detention Center features Diddy on a prison phone using borrowed credentials, something that, in itself, violates federal protocols. But what truly raised alarm was what he said. Diddy, speaking in code, referenced getting rid of all the pizza boxes and making sure someone recycled the plastic. To most people, that might sound like nonsense, but to investigators, and those familiar with dark web terminology, pizza has a deeply disturbing connotation. It's slang often linked to child trafficking circles and illegal content distribution.
Listen, do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes. Okay.
Whether or not that's what he meant isn't clear, but the reaction was instant. Social media exploded. Reddit threads dissected every syllable. True crime experts began cross-referencing phrases. And then, it got even more suspicious. Diddy drops another name during the call.
Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about. Yeah. Did Jay reach out yet? Nah, Bob. He ghosting. What this motherfucker doing? These things sweet now, because I'm in here. It's all good. You about to get out on bail. No, fuck that.
He doesn't say Jay-Z, he doesn't elaborate, but the tone changes. It's guarded, like he's choosing each word carefully. Then comes a chilling line. What list? No one knows. But theories started spreading like wildfire. A list of collaborators, a list of people to protect or to expose. And what makes this all so dangerous is that it didn't sound like a man cracking under pressure. It sounded like someone who still thought he had control. But the truth is that control is slipping. Investigators are reportedly analyzing the call for connections to other criminal elements. The timing of the call, right after Diddy rejected the plea deal, raises even more red flags. It suggests he's not just trying to protect himself, he's trying to coordinate damage control from behind bars. Some speculate that Diddy is using the threat of exposure as leverage. That by keeping certain secrets about Jay-Z, about the parties, about what happened behind closed doors, he still holds cards that powerful people might pay to keep hidden. But here's the kicker. Law enforcement believes more calls exist. Unconfirmed sources say the FBI has compiled hours of recorded conversations from Diddy's time in custody, many of which have yet to be released to the public. And if those tapes contain names, details, or coded references to illegal acts, the fallout won't stop with Diddy. It's no longer a question of if someone else gets implicated, it's when. And Jay-Z, his name has now been said out loud on a federal prison line. That's not a rumor, that's not speculation, that's a recorded moment in time. And if federal agents decide that what Diddy meant by pizza boxes and lists ties back to anyone else in the industry, the trial could explode into something far bigger than anyone expected, because when phone calls start replacing silence, someone is preparing to talk. And when that happens, loyalty means nothing. As the Diddy scandal reaches new levels of chaos, one man has remained almost ghost-like throughout the headlines: Jay-Z. There's no statement, no press conference, no carefully worded tweet, just silence. But it's not the kind of silence that comes from innocence. It's the kind that comes from strategy. Jay-Z isn't just a rapper anymore. He's a brand, a billionaire, a husband to Beyoncé, and a father to future heirs of a media empire. Every word he speaks is scrutinized, analyzed, and amplified. So right now, he's chosen to say nothing, and that says everything. Sources close to Roc Nation say that Jay-Z has gone into full damage control mode. Lawyers are working behind the scenes. Communications teams have gone dark. Several alleged victims who initially named Jay-Z have either withdrawn their claims or gone completely silent. Coincidence? Or influence? Insiders say Jay-Z is making aggressive moves behind closed doors to cut ties with Diddy, without doing it publicly. According to one music industry veteran, Jay isn't going down with the ship. He's making sure he's not even seen near the dock, but that may not be enough. Remember, Jay-Z wasn't just Diddy's peer. He was a trusted insider. They shared private business deals, exclusive parties, and were often photographed together at high-profile events. They co-hosted secret after parties with guest lists so locked down that even A-list celebrities needed special clearance. And now, those very gatherings are under federal scrutiny. If any witness testifies that Jay-Z was present at a freak-off, or that he knowingly allowed illegal activity to continue, he could be subpoenaed. That's not just speculation, that's how RICO cases work. Guilt by association becomes easier to prove when you are constantly in the same room. Some believe Jay-Z is playing the long game, quietly leaking information to investigators in exchange for immunity. Others think he's betting the storm will pass, and that Diddy will stay loyal to the end. But here's where things get dangerous. Diddy is unraveling. He's lost multiple attorneys. His longtime legal firm walked away. Even Lady Gaga, a client of that firm, reportedly threatened to sever ties if they didn't drop Diddy. And as the walls close in, Diddy may decide to drag everyone down with him. That means Jay-Z, that means Beyoncé. That means anyone who ever attended a party, signed an NDA, or made a call. If Diddy testifies, or if additional phone calls are leaked, Jay-Z's silence might not save him, because right now, the silence isn't protecting him, it's isolating him. And in the court of public opinion, saying nothing while everyone else burns only makes people more curious. What is Jay-Z hiding? It's a dangerous game of chess. And if Jay-Z miscalculates, if one piece moves out of place, his entire empire could fall. Diddy's legal team is falling apart. One of his lead attorneys, Anthony Rico, filed a formal withdrawal stating he could not effectively serve Diddy anymore. His longtime law firm, Grubman, Shire, Meiselas, and Sachs, dropped him too. Rumors say Lady Gaga threatened to leave the firm if they didn't. That's how toxic Diddy's name has become. And Jay-Z, he's been suspected of orchestrating some of these exits to protect his own image, cutting ties before the headlines explode. Even New York City's Mayor Eric Adams, who once gave Diddy the key to the city, has now been indicted on unrelated charges. Another powerful ally gone. Everyone's jumping ship, and Diddy is running out of lifelines. This isn't just about one trial. It's about an entire empire built on power, silence, and control. Diddy thought he could buy loyalty. Jay-Z thought he could stay invisible. But the walls are closing in. Leaked calls, witness lists, lawsuits. That name names. It's all unraveling. If even one tape exists, just one, the game is over. Jay-Z might be quiet now, but when survival is on the line, silence turns to betrayal fast. This isn't the beginning of a scandal, it's the end of a dynasty. If you made it this far, we want to hear from you. Do you think Jay-Z will get pulled into the case? Is Diddy going down alone? Or is he just the first domino? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if this blew your mind, and don't forget to subscribe. We've got more shocking stories coming your way. Because in the world of fame, the truth always finds a way out.